Hello everyone, Kent Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org. Hello everyone, this is Kent Bressler, and we're going to do a little podcasting today. Where I'm sitting in Texas, the weather's pretty nice, but in general I think what we're going to see is some snow in the next couple of days, which is pretty rare for us. Hopefully it won't stick and it won't cause any driving problems. Wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. I know we had a great Christmas, and I just wanted you to know that I think about you a lot and I appreciate you listening. And wanted to let you know that this is brought to you by Kidney Solutions, and you can find us at kidneysolutions.org. And today what we're going to do is we're going to have a kidney anniversary with a good friend of mine from, but this is kind of like sponsored by AAKP. All the members of AAKP come on my podcast, and we just talk transplants. And as you know, AAKP is the oldest and largest fully independent kidney patient organization in the United States. It's dedicated to improving the lives and long-term outcomes of kidney patients through education, advocacy, patient engagement, and the fostering of patient communications and communities. It fights for early disease detection, including appropriate diagnosis of rare and genetic diseases. It's increased need for kidney transplantation and talks about preemptive transplantation, full patient choice of either an in-center or home dialysis, protection of the patient and the physician relationship, and promotion of research and innovation. Elimination of barriers is their main focus for the patient. The patients are number one with AAKP. That being said, let's pray. Jesus, I know when you walked in the earth, you walked upon and trod upon hard places. You felt the strain of this world and the pressure of mental torment. So we ask that you would come beside us now and lead us through the time where we can find a good place within our mind to cope. Help us to find peace and calming our inner thoughts. You hold us safe, Lord, and for that we're grateful. We trust in you. Amen. Well, I am excited because I get to talk to Curtis Warfield this morning. Curtis is a very good friend in the community and kidney community especially. And so we're going to talk to him. He was transplanted. I'm not going to take any thunder away from him. I'm going to let him tell us about his transplant. And Curtis, it's great to have you today. Nice for you to come in and talk to me.
It's good to be here, Kent, and happy holidays to everyone.
So, when were you transplanted? What date? What's your transplant date actually?
My transplant date was January 8th of 2016.
Oh, you're coming up on your kidney anniversary then, pretty close, pretty soon.
Yes, it'll be 5 years.
Yeah.
Next week, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so give us an idea of what you faced with kidney disease. You know, your diagnosis, and kind of give us a background of what happened to your kidneys.
Well, to start out with, I go back to 2005, and I was going through my regular physical checkup because prostate cancer runs high in my family on both sides. So we were looking out for that, and when my doctor decided to do a full blood workup, he noticed that there was protein leaking in my urine when the test came back. So he sent me to a nephrologist who did a biopsy, and he noticed that there was some damage done to my kidneys. So he put me high dosages of prednisone, which of course is a steroid, for like 4 months, and my numbers got back up to normal. He sent me home saying, you know, things are looking good, but this may come back later. And I didn't pay it a whole lot of attention, because when he said things are good, okay, I'm moving on.
Yeah, Chad.
But in 2012, I noticed some swelling going on, you know, in my ankles and in my hands and stuff. And when I went to see my doctor again, we noticed the same things. The test came back normal, or not normal, but the results back as they did in 2005. He sent me to a new nephrologist because the old one had retired. He did a,
It happens.
It does happen. He did a lot of tests and blood workup and came back and said, you know, you're in stage 3 of kidney disease.
Okay, there you
And
go.
we were like, how did we get here? So he put me on a lot of medication to try and slow it down, and it was very aggressive. And by 2014, on December 1st of 2014, I started peritoneal dialysis. So after going through that, and I was still able to work full time, which was kind of a big thing for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wasn't sure what we were going to do as a family as far as, you know, trying to keep some type of a lifestyle going. So I did peritoneal and was able to do that at night on a machine. And that was in December of 2014. I was able to make the transplant list in February of 2015. And soon after that, we heard about living donation. And my daughter decided she wanted to get tested to see if she could be a living donor. And we had a big fight about it.
A fight? What, you didn't think she ought to do it?
I didn't think she should do it. I thought, I didn't really know a lot about living donation at the time, so I thought it hurt her in the long run and long term and stuff.
Okay.
And she actually educated me. You know,
She'd done her homework.
She did her homework. She was newly out of, just graduated from college and stuff, so she knew everything, and the internet was her friend. So.
Well, that's a long time, 2005 to 2014, 15. That, you know, I think the math is 10 years right there. Is that correct?
That was about right.
Right? Yeah. So, okay, so continue with your blessing. This is great.
Yes. So she won the fight because she was able to bring facts and proofs and everything. It was like having an oral dissertation.
Yeah, she's going for a master's.
About living donation. So it was like, okay. So she went to get tested, and everything was going fine, but the doctors weren't happy with the way our blood type matched.
Okay.
And it would be a thing whereas they could do the transplant, but I would probably be on more medications to help prevent
some immunosuppressions. Yeah.
And so they were like, if there was somebody else, or maybe we can get into the pair exchange.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't know was after she graduated, she moved out the house, which was a nice thing. And she was sharing a house with one of her college sorority sisters. So they were, her sorority sister was kind of keeping an eye on my daughter, you know, wondering first of all what was going on. And then after she heard about, she was being tested to give a kidney, she became very interested. She was at the time, majoring as a physical trainer and
Physical therapist?
no, actually a trainer for sports teams.
Oh, sports trainer. Okay.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
sports
Cool.
trainer.
Cool. Yeah.
So, that was kind of interesting to her.
Yeah.
And she was keeping an eye out on my daughter. And when she heard that my daughter wasn't able to be a donor, she stepped up and said, you know what? I want to try this. And went
Oh, great.
out of the blue and everything.
Yeah.
And she turned out to be a perfect match. And so when I got the call from my transplant center saying, your friend is a perfect match, I'm trying to figure out who, because I didn't know that she had went to go be tested.
Oh my goodness. So that was a complete surprise to you.
It was very
Wow.
much a surprise, yes.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
So I found out in early December, and they were like, we want to do the transplant in January and do it the weekend of January 8th, because that's when the donor had decided to do it.
Sure.
She was in the middle of graduate school
Oh my.
and wanted to do it and get, for the most part, get it over with, because she would be on Christmas break and could continue to go to school after she rested and stuff and recuperated from, the surgery. So we were in a kind of whirlwind for about 3 weeks trying to get everything in order so that, we could go ahead with the transplant.
Sure.
And a week before the transplant took place, during my final tests for the transplant, I get a call from my transplant center saying, your PSA score is rather high.
Oh no.
So we need to check that out. So I had a biopsy done on my prostate the Monday before my surgery on Friday was scheduled.
Yeah. Okay.
So they rushed that through and all the tests. So that Wednesday I got notice that everything would be okay for the surgery. So we were good at that.
Yeah.
And we were meeting up with my donor and her mother, who had came in from New Jersey to be with her daughter during her recuperation period.
Good.
And asked her, well, why did you decide to do this? You guys have got to have some questions. And we were asking her mother, now you have to have some questions why your daughter is donating to somebody you don't even know.
Exactly.
And she was like, we've brought our daughter up to be helpful and to lead her life and use her own mind to make her own decisions. And after she came in and discussed it with us, and we did some research on it, and we had counseling with her, and their pastor counseled with them, and their family physician also did some counseling. And they were like, we were comfortable with what and we know God's got this.
That's right.
So,
That's right. He's in control.
He is in control. So she was like, I'm just doing it because I wanted to help. I saw a need and this is something I wanted to do. So we were comfortable with it. And so that Friday morning, we checked into the hospital. It was like 6 a.m. in the morning. And everybody got, set up. And by 5 p.m. that afternoon, I had a new kidney that started working immediately. Everything went well. And she was doing fine. I was doing fine. We were both out of the hospital by that next Sunday, as in 2 days after the surgery.
Praise God.
Yes, God truly had his hand in
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And we've been doing, both have been doing well ever since. She finished her master's degree that May in public health.
Okay, cool.
So she's doing well. She has been, before COVID,
Yeah. Yeah.
she has been to like Mexico to for vacations, been to the Bahamas, and doing her own thing. She has bought a house a couple of years ago, and has opened her own personal training business part-time.
That's
So
great. So
she's doing good.
you've actually become very, very active in the kidney space. And you remember AAKP and NKF and several other organizations. When you go back and look at your experience, okay, pre-transplant, was there any time in there that you mentioned that you didn't know about living donation? Was there a time in there that you really wished that you'd have known earlier so that you could have got transplanted before you went on dialysis? Is that something that you thought about afterwards, after the fact?
Yes. And after hearing about it and the timetable of everything, I do wish I had known more about preemptive transplant and been able to kind of skip that whole ordeal of dialysis.
I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's, what Kidney Solutions does. That's what we're advocating for, preemptive transplant. But in your particular case, it worked out great. But some people spend a lot of time on dialysis.
Yes.
So how has it gone? How are your numbers? Are they very good?
My numbers have been great.
Okay.
I haven't had any, like I said, I haven't had any issues. My nephrologist, as well as my transplant team, they kind of all are in the same place. So that's a good thing.
That's great. Yeah. Well, having a living donor, having a living donor is the best gift you could get.
Yes, that's what they had said when all of this had came up. To have a living donor, the kidney works a lot better and a lot longer.
Exactly.
And, if you're lucky, like myself, to receive a kidney from a young person, my donor was only 27 at the time when she donated. So
and you were how old?
I'm turning, well, I'm 60 now, so I was 55.
See, I wouldn't believe that. I can't hardly believe it. 60 years old.
Yes, actually, I'll be 61 Saturday.
You sure don't look at the poor folks out there that are listening. This guy's he looks really, really very, very young. So that puts a different perspective on it, because that does make a difference, because your kidney doesn't age with you. You live as long as you're going to live, right? But that kidney quote should be good to go till you're good to be gone.
Exactly. Exactly. As long as I take care of it, I'm doing good. So.
That was my next question, Curtis. What do you do to maintain your good kidney function? What do you do?
I really try and watch my diet. I mean, now I'm not going to say that I am perfect, because I'm not.
Nope. Me neither.
I have a bad habit with chocolate chip cookies.
Me too.
But I do try and watch what I eat. Not a lot of junk food, fatty foods and stuff. And I drink plenty of water. Water is now my main choice of fluid. And I'm drinking about a gallon a day, which my doctors had all said that's what I should be about
That's
just
right.
consuming fluids and stuff. So
Whatever your doctor says, they're the ones that are leading the charge here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I follow what they do, and had a nice nutritionalist there as part of the transplant team who has helped me along with things.
Where were you transplanted?
Snacks.
Where were you transplanted?
I was transplanted here in Indianapolis. In Indianapolis at St. Vincent Hospital.
Good. Okay, so do you exercise?
I do exercise. I get around. I try and walk as much as possible during the day. And especially when I'm working from home now.
Like everybody else in the world.
Like everybody else. And before, downtown has a nice walking path that I could follow. So I could put in like a couple of miles around lunchtime.
Okay.
So that really helps. So now I'm trying to walk around the neighborhood, and I've got a small exercise bike that we all use here at the house. So
good. So exercise, diet, and then maintaining your medication load too, I'm sure. What are you on medication wise?
I am on 5 different meds right now. I call it, prednisone is one, Celcept,
Tacrolimus?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Prograf.
Prograf, thank you. That's what I was looking for. So those are the, out of the 5, those are the 3 main ones that
and then are you on a blood pressure
I'm doing
medicine?
I'm doing 1 blood pressure medication.
Okay.
And so we're doing pretty good.
Well, you're doing great, because I've seen you. I've been, it's been a year.
Yes.
We've rubbed shoulders, and you're trim. You probably got right. You need to be right where you should be at 60. And I think that's the takeaway point here. If you don't take care of it, nobody else is. You're going to lose it. Yeah,
that's true.
So
right.
And consequently, I do know one thing I wanted to ask you. Do you know a diagnosis? Did they ever put a name on your kidney disease?
After a while,
because they did a biopsy, right?
They did the biopsy, and he really didn't say. That nephrologist didn't say anything. Okay. It was my second nephrologist who said mine was due to FSGS. The
same thing as mine, FSGS, a rare kidney disease, and one that has a tendency to come back. But even in the transplanted kidney. But we don't despair about that. We had the transplant to live, so we carry on. If it comes, it comes. We deal with it when it comes. We just stay in our own lane.
Right.
Did that biopsy hurt?
Not really. It's scary at first because, especially if you've never had a procedure like that. Yeah. But it's kind of a poke.
Little pressure.
A little more than a poke.
Yeah.
And then it's done quickly. I think I was in there no more than 15 minutes total.
Yep.
And the nephrologist who did it at the time was very nice. He explained what was going on during that whole procedure, from numbing that area to when he was inserting the needle.
Right.
And doing the actual biopsy and stuff. So that helped.
And no complications afterwards. It went okay. Went smooth, right? Okay.
Right. Everything went smooth.
All right.
And no complications at all.
Well, FSGS, we've both been I've had a lifelong history of that, and I've done a lot of work in that area trying to figure out what it is. And there's been a lot of advances, and there are some drugs now coming out that are going into trials that seems to stem the loss of protein in your urine in nephrotic syndrome, where the protein goes out, and with FSGS, it seems to help. But there's not a cure for FSGS. People have to realize that. And I think that you're a prime example of it. You have it, you deal with it. You don't need to worry about it because it's there. It's not going to go away. But mostly in general, if you get out as long as you have, you've got pretty clear sailing. And again, having that living donor, I wouldn't even think about it. You move on. That's why you had the transplant, or you stayed on dialysis, right? So
exactly. And like you said, having a living donor, that helps me stay positive and want to do what I do in the advocacy world, to give forward because of what someone has given to me.
Yep.
And having that positive attitude, and that's what I tell other people, to have that positive attitude, that helps you along just as much as your medications and your exercise and stuff.
I couldn't agree more. You cannot go being the sultan of chaos. You've got to be positive. You just take it as it comes, right? I think you're a lot like me. What's here today is what I deal with. I don't worry about what happened yesterday, and I'm surely not going to really worry about what's coming because I'm going to deal with it as it comes. Is that pretty much? Yeah,
you got it right on point. So.
Yeah, and I think if we could get kidney patients to understand that this is not a cure, this is just an adjustment, just like having a heart attack or just like having your appendix out or any other surgical procedure that you have. A kidney transplant's not a cure, but it's better than anything else on the market, is what I've always said.
Exactly.
You agree?
I totally agree. And it was like, even going back to having to start dialysis, I had a wonderful nurse who told me, basically the same thing. It's not, the end of anything. It's just trying to live a new normal.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
For me, that was the first time I kind of heard that phrase and took it and ran with it.
Yep.
It's not the end of life. It's just having to make some changes and continue to live, and just it's a different way of living. So
yeah, well, it's living without the harness of dialysis. It's living without a lot of a waste product going around in your system and making you confused and disoriented. And a lot of the times I've felt much better. And as I've gotten older, it's nice to know as I age that I've got healthy kidney. I've got a good, healthy, functioning kidney. I don't have to worry about the other stuff. So it does. I was going to also ask you, how did your family play into this when you knew you were going to have a kidney transplant? How did they play in? How did they work it out with you?
I felt very fortunate in that they were very supportive and wanted to know what was going on and asked me a lot of questions. How's the doctor's visit? Okay, you're getting ready for the transplant. What's all involved in it? And how long is it going to take? What's the recovery time? Are you still going to be able to, be active? And
they have a lot of questions, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have that support and know that they cared. And even today, they still care.
Oh, yeah, right.
How are you feeling? What's going on? Do I need to get you anything? Do you have enough water to drink? Are you eating today?
Yeah, they become permanent babysitters. I have had one for 51 years. I couldn't ask for anything better. Okay, so two final questions. First of all, here's the one that I really want to know. Are you going to take the immunization? Are you going to take the vaccination for COVID?
I plan to, and to make it simple, I want to, my annual visit with my nephrologist and transplant team is coming up in a couple of weeks. So I just want to consult with them to make sure everything is okay, and if there's a preference on which one of the vaccines I should take and move on with that. So, but in
You don't,
short, yes,
yeah, you don't fear it,
I
right?
don't fear it. No,
Okay, good. Because there is no data out there. We're not going to see data for 3 to 5 years on
it's
how it does. But you know what? You think about all the people that went before you, polio and with all these different viruses that we, if nobody takes it, we'll never know. So we have to take this shot. Now it's personal. You're right. You talk to your nephrologist. You make the decision. You make all of your decisions. And I know you have
exactly
done that. And I encourage everybody out there that's listening is to make darn sure you make the decision. All right. With good consultation with your physician. And then you go from there. But this is
right.
all about you, right? It's a personal thing. You don't let somebody else dictate to you how your care is going to go. You do that. All right. And you live with the
Exactly.
consequences. So I think that's really important for us to get people to understand. Don't fear it. Find out about it, and then make your decision. Stick with it. All right, and do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
totally agree with what you say.
yeah. The second question I had, if you had anything in your mind right now, anything you could do, you could go back. What would you do differently? Once you were diagnosed, you knew you had kidney disease. What would you do differently?
I would probably have looked up more information about kidney disease and been more proactive in taking care of my health and being able to ask my doctors more questions and stuff. It was kind of scary when you get, you
Oh,
know, diagnosed and they come back and tell you you have disease in your body.
right.
And not that I didn't trust my doctors, I did and relied on them when really I should have been, like you were just saying,
Proactive.
doing more
Yeah.
for myself
Mm-hmm.
and making more decisions and doing more research for myself about what was coming uh, on with kidney disease.
See, I think there's a fear, don't you? That it's kind of like the fear of the unknown. I'm glad you said what you did about I would learn more about it. Most of the time you're set at ease. Oh, we're going to watch this. It's
Right.
okay. Don't worry about it. I encourage people not to buy that scenario. I encourage them, like you would do differently. I would do the same thing. I would really get into what it's all about to have kidney disease. After you get over the initial shock of being told you have a disease that's
Hmm.
never going to go away, depending on how your nephrologist approaches it, but then you have to make yourself aware of the fact that you're going to live. You're not going to die. You're going to
Right.
live. So you want to live the best you can. And you can't do that without knowledge.
Exactly. And there's a lot of ways of getting that knowledge nowadays.
Absolutely.
I would encourage everybody to look into their own situation and be more proactive in doing things and learning things so that with things like preemptive transplant, uh, that time period won't get past you. And different ways of treatments that are going out there and
Sure.
the new treatments that are happening. So
Yep. And there's tons of them.
there
We've
are
tried to
tons
go
of,
through them and get used to that.
yes.
Well, I'm really glad you came on.
Well,
I just can't. I really enjoy being around you. I enjoy talking with you, and we've had a good run in the kidney community, and we're going to keep it going. We'll just do it as long as we possibly can.
definitely. It's been a pleasure talking with you and good to see you. And as you said, hopefully 2021, sometime down the road, we can meet up with each other in person again.
Exactly. I'm praying for that really hard. All right,
Yes,
Curtis, thank you so much. I was just wanting to let my folks know that are listening. Just remember that you are your best advocate. I think we kind of run over that a lot, but I'm just just tell you that you're in charge. No one else is in charge. And you have to make sure that when you're in charge, you know all that you can about the disease process itself. And then I guess the best thing that you can ask your physician is, what are my options? Don't just take it, well, we're going to watch this. Actually ask them, what are my options? Spell those out for me. Tell me what number 1 is, number 2 is, number 3 is, so that I can make a decision which way I'm going. So consequently, there are differences. There are differences of how nephrologists work with their patients. But your question should be invariably, what are my options? So I can make a decision. So that's kind of our takeaway. And again, I wanted to thank Curtis so much for coming on. Until we see you again, keep breathing.